Hi, well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Nick Green. I'm one of the founding partners of Fat Green Consulting. First of all, my thanks to Joe and Julian for inviting us today. My goal is very simple. I'd just like to provide you all with a bit of an overview of the China FinTech sector. Now, for those of you who don't know me, I'm the chap at the top of the slide. I grew up in Newcastle. I lived in Hong Kong for 18 years, but now I live in York with my wife and my family. The lady on the right is a lady called Annie Lian. Annie grew up in China and worked in Hong Kong raising capital for Chinese companies in the tech sector. Now, you may be wondering why I'm starting my presentation with a picture of Macy's Bar, the big market. But for the Geordies of you in the audience, I'd just like to say that I started my career at the ripe old age of 18, pulling pints in Macy's. I didn't tell my parents exactly what went on, but let's just say it was a good education in life. What I'd like to do now is just move on briefly to the China tech or fintech sector and highlight some of the key trends that we're seeing across China. I'm sure many of you already know this, but clearly China is a rapidly developing economy, and Chinese consumers are increasingly becoming urbanized and embracing technology. In 2017, half of the world's digital payments were transacted in China. Despite this, China has voiced its desire to become the leading country in financial technology development and adoption. Today, in modern China, digital payments are leading the fintech sector in terms of transaction values. Digital payments today are typically made via apps such as Alipay, which is owned by Ant Financial, as well as others, including WeChat, who are owned by Tencent Holdings. These digital payment platforms are deriving huge usage from the thriving e-commerce and social media platforms in China, and increasingly, fintech firms are targeting the maturing demands of the burgeoning middle class in China. Today, the move to insurtech and B2B models, combined with the burgeoning middle class, is creating huge opportunity for wealth management, insurance, and private banking services. If we just take a quick look at the pie chart, we can see that consumer demand is strongest for finance and credit across the China fintech sector. Reflecting these changes, Chinese financial services firms are embracing technology, which in turn is playing a crucial role in the development of the Chinese financial services industry. So how can Fat Green help audience participants? Our primary service is working with investors and business owners to protect their companies, their shareholders, and key members of staff from unexpected financial risks. Through our experience in investment banking, we are able to advise management how to attract investment and maximize business valuations. And finally, our experience of North Asia may be of interest to some of you who may be looking at considering international partnerships and/or expansion. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So a quick question here. I mean, obviously, you're looking at outward investment from the UK into China. Do you talk about Chinese companies that want to come and invest in the UK and want to bring trade over here?
Yeah, very much so. In fact, we were recently approached by a privately owned private equity firm in China who are looking at actually investing into companies in the UK. Very simple question. Why? Since the end of the financial crisis, there was it seemed almost like a tsunami of inward investments coming from the West into Asia. People like KKR, Blackstone, Carlyle raised gargantuan funds, but clearly a decade later, the byproduct of that process is that it's driven asset valuations up quite steeply. So it's getting harder and harder for investors in China to be able to make the kind of return on their investments that they once would have done. In contrast, the UK and particularly the North are actually providing some, I think they're going to provide some amazing opportunities for investors in China. They may not
And what
realise.
level? So just don't mind me interrupting here. When you're talking about investment, so KKR, Blackstone, massive private equity,
Yeah.
dealing massive practically private equity buyout deals,
Yeah.
MBOs, and so on. We're talking about in FinTech North and the community that we serve, small companies that are looking for seed round investment at probably the very highest level. I mean, occasionally, I guess you're going to see companies at the start of the journey maybe going for Series A, at best Series B, but by the time they've got to that stage, they're of the TransferWise. Now, is TransferWise an incumbent or a fintech? Who knows? It's now called Wise. It's decided to rebrand itself, but most of the constituency that we have will be looking for at best seed funding. So is there an appetite, and what will be the framework for deploying that retail capital and wealth into companies in the north of England that you would suggest?
Hi, Chris. This is Annie. I'll take that question then.
Okay.
As you rightly pointed, for this size, it definitely wouldn't come from the state-owned enterprises or sovereign fund like CIC itself. But it definitely, below that, you have a huge layer of potential capital / companies. The capitals include financial investors or same like the fund that Nick mentioned, that they tend to come from a wealthy families, family offices. But these family offices, they are what we call at the Western world are new monies. They all accumulated wealth in the past 10 years by created by lots of entrepreneurs like Alibaba, Tencent founders. But you have another universe of smaller scale companies. So they constantly looking for core technology. But whenever they're looking for technology, I think, or even branded, the ultimate goal for them is not invest in UK and they deploy back into UK. They are like to basically like to combine the essence of British engineering or British technology with a huge market potential back in China. So this is where they are coming from. So you will see a lot of even Tencent or Alibaba, these founders or other less known family offices, they have a specific family office venture capital arm. What they do is they are looking for elements outside of China that can complement their own ecosystems. This is where the framework is coming. So every time they come out, they have very specific elements what they're looking for.
Perfect. So what I would suggest here is that you liaise, if you've got some of these small family offices that are looking to invest, keep in contact with us, because we obviously have a big community. So look, well, thank you very much indeed. It's very interesting. I mean, there's so much demand, so much supply.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Thank you.